Welcome back to the DeYoung Art Camp video series. My name is Jill McLennan. I'm a senior teaching artist. Today, we are going to create a painting with a message. We will learn about an artist from the DeYoung collection named Aaron Douglas. Then, we will choose a message for our own painting and use symbols and colors to create a composition that conveys our message. Aaron Douglas was raised in Kansas, studied in the Midwest, and then moved to New York City in 1925 during the Harlem Renaissance. At the time, the neighborhood of Harlem was full of black artists, writers, musicians, and performers who were creating, performing, and celebrating their talents and culture. The young Aaron Douglas studied with artists and critics in Harlem, traveled to Europe, and learned about African art and its influence on modern art. He also became interested in the history of the black experience in America. Douglas painted about the history of enslaved African people in the United States, from slavery to freedom, and the persistent struggles of oppression and racism in this country. Let's look at Aaron Douglas's painting Aspiration from 1936. He painted this painting, Aspiration, as one of 4 murals for the Hall of Negro Life at the Texas Centennial Exposition in 1936. Let's name some of the things we see in this painting and try to figure out what they mean. A symbol is a thing that represents or stands for something else. What are some of the symbols that you see in this painting? The word aspiration means the hope of achieving something important. What in this painting might symbolize hope? What are the 3 figures doing or thinking about? What are their hopes and dreams? What are your hopes and dreams for your future and for the lives of others around you? Here's a list of the materials that you'll need for the project. Go ahead and pause the video to collect these materials. Begin to develop your idea. Make a list of words that come to mind when you look at and learn about Aaron Douglas's work. Draw symbols that go along with your words. Now we're going to put together some of those ideas to create a composition for our painting. First, we're going to take our paper and fold it in half to create 2 practice compositions. We're going to start with the landscape as a framework and then add some of those symbols and lines and designs that we came up with earlier. So for a landscape composition, I'm going to add a horizon line to each of my designs. One, I might use this idea of the mountain, which I came up with as a symbol of struggle or achievement. Another idea could be an ocean line. Next, we're going to add some of those symbols that we came up with, such as here I came up with the book to symbolize knowledge. I might add some books in the sky, as if they were birds. And finally, we're going to think about repetition of line and shape. Here I have the repetition of this curved line, emphasizing sound or voice traveling through the atmosphere. I could add that across my entire design. And later I can emphasize these lines through color and value. I'm adding some sailboats to my ocean landscape to symbolize the freedom to go where you want to in life. And then I'm adding a repeating ocean line to symbolize movement. Now let's practice mixing some color scales. This is called a value scale. The value scale shows the darkest and the lightest versions of a color. We're going to start with some blue on our palette, and then I'm going to put some white over here and leaving lots of space in between for mixing. On my brush, I'm going to get some water. I'm going to go ahead and paint just the clean white way over here on this side of my paper. It's okay if it doesn't really show up. And then I'm going to wash my brush, dry it on the rag, and then paint the clean, pure blue over here on the other side of my paper. Make sure that that's pretty dark. Now I'm going to mix all of the colors in between. Starting with the blue, I'm going to add just a tiny bit of white. Out here, I'm not going to add it to the whole pile of blue, just to the outside. Paint it on. Just a tiny bit more white. Mix it in. Paint it on. Maybe a little more. I'm not really starting to see much difference yet. Let's just keep going. A little more. Ah, that looks a little lighter. And just keep going. As long as it takes, little by little, we're going to get lighter. Okay, that's a pretty light blue. I'd say that's about halfway between the darkest blue and the white. So now I'm going to start from the white end. So clean my brush, dry it on the towel. Then I'm going to spread out some white here and just add the tiniest bit of blue. Oh, maybe a little more than that. Just on the tip of my brush. And paint that right next to the white. Oh, you can see the difference already. Okay, just a little bit more. Paint that next. And go on a little more. And a little more. And then I'm getting pretty close to that color where I left off. Let's just do one more to finish it off. There we go. There's a value scale from darkest to lightest with using the color blue. You can try it using any color in your paint set. This is the color wheel. It shows us how to mix all of the colors from the 3 primary colors in the center: yellow, blue, and red. Now practice mixing cool colors using blues and greens. What part of the painting would you paint with cool colors? Then, using reds, oranges, and yellows, practice mixing warm colors. How do the warm colors make you feel? Look back at your sketches and symbols list and begin to draw your final composition, starting with the horizon line. To add meaning, ask yourself these questions. What message do you have for the world today? What is happening in your community that is important? What are some things that are meaningful to you and your family right now? Now I'm going to start with cool colors on my mountain. Starting with the darkest value of a blue-violet, I will paint in one section at a time of my mountain. Then for each section, I'll make it a little lighter as I go across the page. Just mixing a little white into my violet, each time filling in the area. In the lighter areas, I can use lots of water to spread out the paint. For the sky, I have a similar approach, starting with a warm color of orange in the darkest version. And then lightening the orange with yellow. Here I've combined two of my sketches to create a final composition. I've included the mountain, symbolizing achievement, with the ocean for movement. Then I added some of the symbols from my list. Finally, using different types of brush strokes and different colors, either lighter or darker than the colors I have, I'm going to layer and add details to my painting. Welcome back. Now that I've finished with my painting, I'll tell you a little bit about it. My painting is called Earth's Knowledge. I used the books to symbolize human knowledge and the mountain and the ocean to symbolize the strengths of the earth. I used values of warm and cool colors to show the hope and despair that comes with environmental issues. The message of my painting is that we all need to pay more attention to the earth and take care of our planet. What symbols did you use in your painting? How do the colors add meaning to your work? Did your message change through the painting process, or did it stay the same? Thank you for joining me today in our Painting with the Message project. My name is Jill McLennan. Tune in next time.